Hello? Is anybody there? Is anybody out there? Hello? Is anybody? Sounds pretty good. Check, check one, two. 0 viewers. Oh, 4 viewers. Hello, viewers. Hello, Greg. What's doing? What's doing? We've got the drop. 9 viewers. How to get horses at the drop. Who wants to get horses at the drop? Entry fee paid. Thanks, Maine. Let's talk about the drop. Sorry I haven't been on lately. There's a bunch of things going on in the background, some exciting stuff, things developing. I'm also creating videos offline. A full series on everything you need to know about Zed Run to build your stable and to start winning as many races as possible. That series will be launched in the next week or so. And then we're going to do a comprehensive breeding series. And I'm also looking at doing NFT game discovery videos as well. So some of the other projects that aren't as established as Zed Run, doing a full comprehensive video on what I'm learning and the pieces of the puzzles that I am buying on those new projects. Thanks, Dan. I appreciate that. I appreciate that you appreciate me doing these. I appreciate you being here. Very appreciative. Hello, Joseph, Colleen, Raymond, Uncle Fester. Haven't seen you here before, Uncle Fester. Hit the sub button. Jamie, Dan, 333. All the regulars are here. Hit the like button. On the way in, as we know, it's the entry fee. And if the video is crap, then just flip it up. Just turn it around. It's all good. I would also appreciate if you're not subscribed, hit the sub button. I don't know how this is the case, but my stats tell me that only 30% of my viewers are subscribed. What is doing? What's doing? Zed up UFO. Emery is here too. All right, we're going to look at the drop, and I'm going to tell you how I am going to make the most of this drop, and hopefully you'll be able to make most of this drop too. If you don't already have a second stable, we'll look at the deadline for when second stables or stable registration will no longer get an email. Oh, thanks, Greg. Appreciate you being here. Good on you, Uncle. Just been hanging in the background maybe. I appreciate you're subscribed. Love the community that we're building here. Of course, guys, check the comments below. There's some great links to join. Obviously, the Poseidon Racing Advanced Offspring Sales email list, where you'll get advance notice of the sales that we have coming up as soon as breeding opens. Also, the Facebook group, a nice little active, friendly online space to share tips and tricks about Zed Run. And all of this is going to, hopefully you guys are excited about this too, but we're going to start looking at other projects that are just emerging. You know, these fledgling projects that I feel and that I'm investing in that have a lot of potential. All right, so I'll really outline some of those coming up too. And even some of the not so fledgling projects as well, I suppose. 140, what are you doing up at 140, Operation Wolf? Yeah, you can catch up tomorrow. All right, let's switch over. 28 viewers, 17 likes. It'll do. It'll do. So we have the Echo Drop. The Echo Drop. All right, let's see. Big surge of stable owners. Team welcomes and invites you to join the fun and action, yes, fun. Drops aren't so much fun, are they? The stress. This should read, invites you to join the stress and anxiety of our next drop and frustration. Anyway, we're going to hope to alleviate some of that. The drop is ringing in at 5 p.m. Pacific time or 8 p.m. Eastern time, and I believe that relates to 10 a.m. Australian time on Friday morning. Degens unite. Colleen, we may as well answer this initially. Griffin Fletcher, I haven't seen your name here. Yep. Great to have you here with us. Colleen asks, what NFTs have I been acquiring lately? She says apes and bonsais. I've had a couple of apes for about 3 months, so I didn't buy them at the drop. That would have been nice to buy them at like 0.05 or 0.08 or whatever they were. But I bought them not long after, and they've been... What? Where'd you go? Hang on. I've lost the questions. Hang just 1 second here. Technical difficulty, I've lost your questions. Ah, that's what happened. All right, I'll bring you back. There we go. Yeah, so I like apes, and I'm going to do a video on everything that the apes have got coming up in the future. I haven't bought bonsais, to be honest. I had a look at the website and I didn't really understand it. I have to look into that more. I might do a video on it, trying to understand bonsais. It didn't have the functionality that I'm usually looking for, to be honest, in these NFTs. But maybe it does. I have to do some more research. But the other one I've been looking at recently, and I will do a discovery video on, is Riot Races. I'm really enjoying what they're doing and the vision for the future for those races as well. Super Yeti. I haven't looked at Super Yeti. I know that only launched the other day. So I haven't looked at that yet either. I tend not to FOMO into, I've had a lot of bad experiences of FOMOing into projects and then them just basically just being crap. So I tend not to FOMO in. I tend to sort of wait and really understand. If I've got time to understand a project, then I'll buy at the drop. So Riot Races is a good example. I didn't buy the first drop, but now that I understand the project, I'll be buying the second drop in probably about 3 or 4 weeks. So a lot of these projects, I've heard of Super Yeti, but I need to understand, like, what is the future? Is there a yield? I want a project, an NFT that has a yield, okay, as well as an appreciation factor. Not always the case, because if it's purely art, like something like CryptoPunks, and I can get them at the right price, I don't have any CryptoPunks, just for disclosure, but if I could get one of those at the right price, you know, if there's a dip in the future, then I'm okay, because I feel like that's a project that's going to survive and do quite well. But other than that, I'm looking for projects that have functionality in gameplay and or a yield on your investment. All right, before we go into that too much, let's have a look at the drop here. Let's have a look at the drop notice. How many stables? There's roughly about 50,000 stables, I think. How many of those are active or how many of those are duplicated? I don't know. So time to jump in. Are you Zeddy? That's the time. Okay, so you can Google Zed Run blog and you'll come to this page and you can find all these links here. Make sure you've got WETH, okay, so transferred your ETH into your Zed WETH account. Make sure you do that. Each wave will be 15 minutes apart. There'll be a 10-minute period at the start of each wave where you can only buy 1 horse each within that 10-minute period. If there are horses left beyond the 10 minutes, you can keep buying after that period for as many as you like. Awesome. Prices will remain the same as the previous drop in USD, I believe. So expect to see an Ethereum price jump, because last drop, now this is just what I've been told, that the prices are staying stable in USD, but last time Ethereum was really, really high, up around $4,000 from memory. It's now down around 2.5-ish, although it's had a bit of a spike today. So you will see an ETH increase, but a USD will be the same, is what I'm interpreting that as. Only stables which have been assigned to the drop will be able to access the marketplace via their unique link at that particular time. That's good. No newly created stables from Wednesday, the 9th of June will be eligible for the Echo drop. All right, so with that in mind, I'm assuming Wednesday the 9th is in USA time, is what they're referring to. If you haven't created a second stable yet, and you've got a second email, and you want to try and get more than 1 horse, then creating a second stable is probably the best option if you have time at the point of watching this video. Okay, so Thursday the 10th of June, 8 p.m, we got that. Here's the format. There'll be one drop at 5 p.m, and then another one 15 minutes later, another one 15 minutes later, and another one 15 minutes later. Wave 1 is exclusive to those who missed the link during the last drop. Okay, so that's the make-up drop. Wave 1 will be purely for the people that didn't get a link last time. And that's good. Okay, so if you're one of those, you would have already got an email. We don't need to know that. Each wave is 15 minutes apart. Wave 1 is for the users that missed the link, as we said. And wave 1 users, the people that missed the link last time, that got the broken link, will get wave 1, and they'll also get an email invite to another wave. So that makes up. So last time we all should have got an email to one drop, one wave, but some people got a broken link that didn't work. So now they get an extra drop in wave 1, and they'll also get an invite to 2, 3, or 4 as well. Okay, so all other users will receive the unique access link to either wave 2, 3, or 4. So with that in mind, everyone that's not participating in the broken link drop here, this one, will be starting at either 5:15, 5:30, or 5:45. Will I be able to share my link with others? No. Only stables which have been assigned to the link will be able to access it. Yes, there's a 10-minute cooldown period after you buy that first horse. And then after that 10-minute period, so once we get to, for example, 10 minutes after 5:15 will be 5:25. It will be a free-for-all if there's any horses left. And that's good because that will slow the bots down too. Same as the previous drop for prices. I believe that's USD. You need WETH in your WETH account. And that's all there really is to it. Now, as far as to avoid experiencing errors with the countdown timer and horses loading during the eco drop, please ensure you have set your computer's time automatically. I don't know why that's the case, but that might be something that you want to do. I didn't have problems with that before, so that should be okay for me, but open settings, time language, date time, and set time automatically. There it is there, that little button there. All right. Now, to make sure that you make the most of this, there's one huge tip that you need to know. One huge tip. When the countdown timer reaches 0 and the horses start loading, don't hit the refresh button, number 1. But what you do want to do is you want to hit the filters button. Now, what I mean by that, you want to set some filters up to narrow the amount of horses that are loading. Because when there's 500 or 1,000 horses trying to load, it takes a long, long time for your computer to do that, to give you access to start buying. So what you want to do, so for example, what you will get, marketplace, what's it currently say? Oh, here we go, this is a great example. So when the countdown timer goes to 0, it will look like this, and all the horses will be sort of flashing like that, trying to load. And don't hit refresh, because that just starts the process again. But what you do want to do, as soon as you get to that point, come here to filters and type in what you want. So if you want a Z6, start with the high number first, or it doesn't really matter actually. But if you want a 6, go like that, highlight 6. That's telling me sold out, sorry. You want to go 6 and then 6 there, so you're only looking at 6s. And then you can come down here, don't worry about that, because if you've typed in 6 there, then you're only looking at 6s, but make sure you highlight and make sure both are at 6. And then come down here, and if you only want a filly, just click filly, boom. And then all you're going to load is the Z6 fillies, and it will load much, much faster and get you buying horses much, much quicker. Because if you're waiting for all those horses to load, last time what happened, by the time they all loaded, they're all sold out. They're all pretty much sold out. Okay, so if you want a you know, a 10, you just come here and select 10, and then come down here and hit Philly. And of course it's telling us sold out at the moment, but you know what I mean. That should do the trick. Now, I can't take any responsibility for that being a bum steer if it's not going to work, but that's what I did last time and it worked, and that's what a lot of people were doing last time, and it worked really, really well. Let's have a look at some questions. Yo, Rice Farmer. Legions United, Super Yeti, no, haven't touched on it. As I said, I am going to do discovery pieces on some projects that I'm really interested in, and I'll do some research and get right in the back there and try and figure out which are the pieces of the puzzle that I'm going to be buying. For example, with Riot Races, you can buy fuel stations and mechanic shops and pieces of the track. They look to be the yielding NFTs, the NFTs that produce a yield as the races keep going ongoing. You get a percentage of the revenue from the races. So, of course, they're the ones I want. They're the ones that everyone wants. Can you get them? I don't know. It's going to be expensive or luck, a lot of luck involved. Raymond says, I don't know if I should try for the best horse I can afford or scale down and try and get a Z7 and leave myself some wealth for trying to get a Z9 and 10. My strategy on that is if you've got a budget to buy up and leave yourself with some more, my strategy is let's assume you might be only going to get one horse. In which case I would spend, but I wouldn't want to sort of just all in on one horse in case you get to the 10-minute period and there's still some left. Okay, so my strategy would be to spend about 60 to 70% of your budget, 60 to 70% of that budget on one horse and leave 30 to 40% or 20 to 30%, so maybe 70 to 80% of your budget on one horse and leave 30% or 20% for another horse or two, if there's still Z9s and 10s left. So if you had like, let's say $2,000 budget, you spend $1,500 roughly on the first horse, get that, you're happy, and then save, $500 might get you two Z10s. Might only get you one, but it might get you two. George says, should you target 8s, 9s, 10s? Yeah, look, I don't think there's a great deal of difference between the 8s, 9s and 10s. 10s are cheaper. I'm going to be going for a couple of 10s. I'm also going to try and buy a couple of 10s for the community, for anyone that misses out. I can't guarantee I'm going to get them, but let's see. But I'd aim for a 10. If you want to be safer, maybe go for a 9. The demand will be less, I would think. But maybe everyone's thinking of going for 9s because the demand will be less, and in which case 10s might be the go. But yeah, that seems like a good strategy. Jack, thoughts on Sandbox? Just bought a 3x3. Nice work, mate. Yeah, I've got just a one tile in Sandbox. I would like maybe some more. Again, I'm waiting for, I think there's going to be a downturn across the NFT market, a noticeable downturn. Not financial advice, it's just my current opinion. The way markets go, they generally come in, get some big adoption, spike up, then that adoption settles out and the prices drop back down before you get the next wave of adoption. Now, within the NFT space, I think most of the projects are mostly known through most of the NFT players, if you like. Okay, there's probably a market of 200 to 500,000 keen NFT buyers, and we're all sort of looking around discovering these projects roughly at the same time, so they all sort of tend to jump up initially. But what we need to really take this to the next level, in my opinion, not financial advice obviously, is the general public to really start jumping in. For those roughly 200,000 to 500,000 NFT keen users like yourself and myself, to spike to 2 million, 10 million, 100 million people playing in this space. Okay, and that's going to take a couple of years probably. So in the meantime, we're going to see some sort of NFT winter, in my opinion. And when we see that, I'm going to start buying up the key pieces that I missed out on last time. I'd love to get a Punk. I'd love to get some Decentraland. I'd love to get a bit more Sandbox. you know, and a few other projects that I missed out on. I'd love to get a golden ape. Geez, remember a video about 3 months ago? I was like, I want to get a golden ape. I could have got one for like 4 Ethereum, maybe even 3.5 Ethereum back there. One sold yesterday for 17 or 20, or maybe it was ridiculous, 20 or 30, or was it 30? Might have been 30. It was silly money. Anyway, I missed the boat on that one. Gas prices shouldn't matter, Greg, because we're on Matic now, so we're all gas free. We don't have to worry about gas. Any thoughts on coats rolls when terrain? And Greg asks, any thoughts on coats colours, I guess, when terrain is added? Should I consider that when picking up this drop? Coat colours, if that's what you're talking about, coat colours have no relation to racing at this point, and I don't think they're going to in the future. They're just a collectible thing. So I'm not sure. If you can find super rares or rare colours in the 9s and 10s, or the 8s, 9s, 10s, or wherever, then that's a good thing. But I wouldn't be messing around too much sort of looking for them. Monkhouse, if you have 2 stables, then I guess you'll need to have them both loaded with wheat. Yes, you will, because those stables will only be able to access the link that you get sent via that email. Okay, so you'll need to have those stables connected. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to happen. Hopefully we get about 10 minutes from when we get the invite to sort of make sure that we've got the right stable ready to go and clicked in and all that stuff. Dylan says, would a new player be better off waiting for a hypothetical downturn to get a horse? No, that wouldn't be my opinion. Because we're still doing public drops, and because you can still get Z10s, assuming that that they're going with that same price. I think they were about $200 US last time. That's super, super cheap. They're selling on the open market for like 1,000. So that's the up market that I'm talking about. You're buying them on the Z public drop for 200, 250, and they're selling on the aftermarket for 1,000 or 1,500. That's the hockey stick spike. Now, what I assume might happen is those Z10s, once we run out of them, they could even go up a little bit more, but then they're going to eventually probably settle back down, and maybe you can pick them up for $500 or $400 or $300 in a theoretical downturn or a hypothetical downturn. But I wouldn't rely on that, number one, and given that you're still being able to buy at the drop Z10s, 9s, 8s at sort of the base level anyway, they're under market value. I think that represents a good, in my opinion, a good risk proposition, because you're already buying them at 25% or 30% or 40% of what the aftermarket value is. So the market can fall by 60% and you still haven't lost any money. Not financial advice, of course. Don't use anything I say to make your financial decisions. Nick, where can you find a pricing list for tomorrow? There's a price list in my Facebook group, Poseidon Racing on Facebook. You can find a link down below. There's a post that has the price list in there, pretty high within that stream. So just join up and I will let you in after this stream. Oh, Jan, you must have missed. I just went through that strategy. So a strategy for a new player with no horses. Let's talk about that. If you have a budget that is enough to buy 2 or 3 horses, I would recommend you spending roughly 70% of that budget on your first horse, just in case you only get one, leaving you enough money to maybe buy a Z9 or a 10. If after the 10 minutes there's some of those left, go and buy a 9 or a 10 so that you have 2. As far as if you're a brand new stable, and we're talking gender, look, long term I like the colts better than I do the fillies, long term. But short term and building stables, if you've only got 1 or 2 horses, fillies are better because you can buy, sorry, you can use your fillies and use the studs in the public stud barn and find some really great studs, pay the stud fee, and you get the offspring in your stable. So if you had two fillies, you could, when breeding opens, you could breed with two great studs and you'll have 4 horses, okay? 2 offspring and plus your 2 fillies. Now I think the colts are a better proposition long term, like in the next 2-3 years. But in the short term, over the next 6 months, and you're trying to build a stable, then potentially fillies are better, and you could use that to build up your stable, maybe sell a few offspring, and then if we do get a potential downturn, you can cherry pick a couple of nice colts or a couple of nice stallions to build up that stable, Genesis stallions. So, I mean, it depends. You need to develop your own vision for the game, understand what's better between those fillies and the colts. I like colts. My stable is about 50-50, okay? But my premium horses are the colts. Dylan, first drop, good luck. Make sure, if you didn't watch the start of this video, make sure you use the filters and filter the horse that you want. So let's say your first horse is going to be a Z6. You want to type in 6 here, 6 here, and then if you want a filly, click filly, and then that will reduce the number of horses trying to load, because what happens is these will just be loading forever, and the horses will just be selling away, because our internet, you know, is trying to load 1,000 horses at once. So you use the filters so it's only loading 100 horses. You type in your Z type, your genotype, and then you type in the gender that you want. Then your computer only has to load 50 or 100 horses. They load really quick, and you buy one. You buy your first one. Now, don't rely on a downturn either, because the problem with relying on that downturn, well, you can, look, up to you, do your own research. The problem with relying on a downturn, maybe we're going to go up another 500% in the next 6 months, and then the downturn comes and it just comes back to basically where we are now. So although I think there's going to be a downturn, and I think Zed will be affected as well when this happens, you can't rely on it. You got to, in my opinion, I like to establish a position that I'm happy with, and then when the downturn comes, you don't panic. I tend not to panic. I just tend to sort of sit there, take a deep breath, and then say, right, are there any premium pieces of the puzzle that I would like to buy now? Okay. Again, not financial advice. Greg Davis, I answered that question perfectly just before, but yeah, filly, I would be buying a filly first. What do I personally do with horses that pull 20 to 30 to 1 odds? I sell them. I do. I sell them. I try and, because the market is still fairly buoyant, I try and sell them, and then I try and buy back in, you know, buy another unraced one. At the moment, probably right now, you might be able to sell most of those Genesis for roughly what you'll be able to rebuy in for tomorrow. Maybe not. There's a lot of people trying to do that right now. But that's what I tend to do. You can hang on to them and try and breed them and hope they're a great breeder. But 20 to 30, 20's not too bad, 30's a bit rough. If it's 30 to 40, I try and sell them and move on. But you know, they might be all right. Maybe they've got a use case. Maybe when the different traits come, weather, box, you know, gait preference, weather preference, track preference, maybe they come good. I have my doubts. From what I've heard from the team, the preferences are going to make a difference, but it's a fairly small difference. Like, you're probably not going to see a 30 to 1 come down to 7s, or a $30 horse come down to a $7 odds. And similarly, you're probably not going to see a $7 horse drift out to 15s. You might, I could be wrong there, you might, but we'll see. I'll definitely do that. So let's wrap this up in a minute. Let me switch to OpenSea though, and I'll show you a bit of the things. I'll show you my a couple of the assets that I've bought recently. Robert Quinn, I might be interested in breeding Wall Street with your horse, Wall Street Vixen, if it's a really high quality horse. If it's a super high quality horse winning paid races at 15 or 20%, then we could do a 50-50 swap potentially. If it's not a high quality horse, or if it's an unraced horse, then you can contact me to do a commission breed, which for Wall Street, you're looking at around 2 ETH, okay, for a commission breed where you use your filly and I put Wall Street up and you breed with him. And that's just supply and demand. There's so many people wanting to breed with Wall Street because he's such a great breeder that, you know, people are paying the 2 ETH. So I know it sounds expensive, but that's the way it goes. My brother, can we meet the famous Desi's dream? Yeah, someday. I think we said when I get to 10,000 subs. Not far to go. Well, there is a long way to go, but come on, share it around. We'll get to 10,000 and I'll get the famous Desi's dream to come on the show and we'll have a talk with him about his thoughts. Okay, where is my... Just trying to think. So I just want to show you my apes. I'll show you, I've got some apes, and the best way to get there is to go via... Now you're probably wondering what these things are. These relate to the Riot Races. Now the Riot Races are great. Let's have a look here. The Riot Races graphics are much, much better. In fact, I've got a legit Riot Racer here. Here's a Riot Racer. Isn't that sexy? Lambo. Nice. All right. Now, you can wait for the video if you like. The drop's still about 3 weeks away, I think. And I'll talk about what you should be buying, because these other cars, these Pixel Whips, relate to... Where are they? Pixel Whip's gone. Here they are. This is the #1, the first ever minted Pixel Whip. They relate to Riot Races as well. That will also relate, that will redeem the #1 minted Riot Racer as well. I got a few of these guys, chubbies. All right, I bought them because there was some controversy about copyright. I think they're probably a bad investment, but they only cost me, they were cheap as chips. And then this project is rather interesting. This was an absolutely woeful, terrible project from the beginning, Appimon. And basically the founders sold all these NFTs and then took off with all the money. But interestingly at the moment, and I'll talk about this in a designated video, interestingly at the moment the community has gotten together, and I'm actually on the advisory board as well for the gaming side of things. The community is getting together, banding together, raising money, and going to hopefully turn this around and turn it into one of the best NFT games going around. So currently this thing is in the absolute, just in the doldrums. It's so cheap to get in. Let me have a look. Let's have a look at OpenSea. So you've got Appimon eggs and Appimon monsters. So the Appimon eggs look like what I just showed you there. And they're just under Appimon. They're changing the name, they're changing the graphics. So these are the eggs. The eggs are cool as. The eggs are cool as. These will be part of the game too, I think. And then you've got the Appimon monsters. Now these are pretty crap. Currently, the graphics are a bit, they're all a bit the same. You know, they've got the rarities, but these monsters are supposed to be battling each other and this and that. Currently, they're just not. And if we go sort by low to high, all these graphics are going to get upgraded. You can see they're in the doldrums, like 0.3 ETH. A few days ago, these were selling for probably 0.000 something or other. Recently sold. Let's see how low it got. 0.02. See if it got into the 0.00s. 0.02, 0.02, 0.018, 0.015, 0.01, 0.01, 0.01. Here we go, 0.008. These 0.009, 0.0075. See how low they got? Now the community is picking this up. We don't know. Okay, so there wasn't many sold. Whoever bought these in the 0.00s, excellent buy. You're right at the base of the trough. Now again, not financial advice, but I happen to know if you join the Discord community, you'll see it's turned around. It's much more positive. There's a full team behind it. Raymond, my ape is a legendary, one of the rare ones. Yeah, and these are terrible, but there's some new graphics coming. Anyway, I'll do a project. Go and join if you're interested in this project and you're interested in something that is hit the rock bottom, you know, and could have some decent upside if they manage to get this turned around and get some cohesion and a good plan. This is a really interesting project. I might look at buying some more of these myself. Again, not financial advice. Don't do what I do or what I say. Make sure you do your own research. Okay, a couple more questions and then we'll wrap that up. What else have I got over here? Doesn't matter. Let's go back over to full screen. We'll do a proper video on that later. Oh, yeah, my new NFTs. I should show you that, guys. We'll talk about these next week as well. One of them is epic. You can always type in Sadzi. I've got my own collection here, hey? That's something. This one, I love this one. It's going to take someone with big bucks because it's a one of one, this one. It's the only one ever to be created. It's a huge file. But imagine having this on your wall of your Decentraland home or your sandbox home. Wait, you just have to wait for it. Drum roll. Check this out. Just mesmerizing. Well, I think it is. Look at it as it waves through these colors. I've made it a little bit more expensive because it's a one of one. I'm only ever producing one of those. And I think it's an exceptional piece and it's worthy of the 0.65 asking price. And there's a lot of upside to that in my opinion. If we have a look at, there's this one here as well, which is a 1 of 8, only a small series. That's a nice one too. I do like this sort of pulsating light and colour. So you can look them up on Sadzi, as I said. And then this one here has been selling quite well. The first level has been sold. All the 0.05s have been sold. And now we're into the 0.75s. All right, that's a different one with a rotation. All right, anyway. All right, let's have a look at a couple more. Oh, silly me. Hang on. I'm sure everyone's going off at me. There's this one. I just forgot to share the screen, didn't I? I shared back and then showed you that. So there's this one. This is the one that's sold out. 5 of these have sold already at 0.05. You can now buy that at 0.075. And let me go back and show you. Sorry. Just look at me, sort of. How many people? Yeah, sorry, Big Ern. This is the one I was saying. This is the 1 of 1. This is my favourite piece. Absolute fave. Check it out. Look at those colours just pulsating through, and that detail. Looks like a chalk drawing. That's my favourite one. 0.65, 1 of 1. I think that's a very fair price for that quality piece. And then there's this one, which is a 1 of 8, slightly smaller edition. Also got those pulsating colours. Would look spectacular, hung on the wall of your Decentraland office home. Anyway, I think they're great little pieces. Yeah, finally got there, Big Ern. Sorry about that. All right, let's switch back here. We'll answer a few final questions there and then we'll wrap it up. Raymond, cowboy hat, apes and Zed go together. We need ape jockeys, don't we? That'd be cool. Get those jockeys on the horses. Yeah. I didn't even show you my apes, did I? Next time. As I said, I'm going to start doing discovery projects. Give it a big thumbs up if you think that's a good idea, or in the comments, let me know. Because I'm really interested in a whole bunch of other projects and I tend to hear about them pretty early. So, Raymond, are you going to get a Z1 or 2 this time? No, I don't believe there's going to be many, if any, Z1 or 2s. Last drop, they said that there will be no further Z1s, 2s, 3s and 4s. Now, if there is, this will be the last time we see Z1s, 2s, 3s and 4s, but it wouldn't surprise me if we're only looking at 5s, 6s, 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s. Producing Z content? No, just talk about what you enjoy and what you'd like to do and, you know, yeah. Rice farmer in producing Z content, get out there and just do it and figure it out as you go. Dominic, did I ever read the description of colour wheels? Mystical says it's good in all conditions. Yes, I have read the descriptions, but it's poetic license. The narrative doesn't ring true to the actual, well, as far as I've been told, it's just poetic. It's just a poetic narrative that doesn't actually ring true to the actual traits. Anthony, perfect cadence, beat Breathless Edge twice recently. Congrats, congrats. Do I anticipate Genesis OpenSea prices going up or down? I don't know, Dylan. I'm not sure. I don't think they're going to go too far up in the near future myself, but I don't know. Yeah, I missed the first drop of Riot Races as well, but I'm looking forward to the next. Deathblot. Yeah, Deathbot blue dress. It's just a walking cliche, my Deathbot. It's got the giant cheesy selfie grin, you know, the giant grin, like the awkward smile. I love it. And then it's a Deathbot with a blue dress with a cheesy, like the happiest, smiliest, welcomest grin in the world. It's a walking cliche. It's really cool. Exoplanets, I'll have to have a look at that. I don't know how fast my internet is. I'm on broadband, so that's pretty quick. Raymond says no jockeys. No, what about if the jockeys were just there for, show and they didn't actually affect the racing ability? Yeah, but I do agree. The simplicity of the game doesn't need to be broken by adding too many other elements. Yes, we do need, in my opinion, we do need weather, and we do need box preference, and we do need maybe location preferences and these types of things. That would be great. And we do need to get rid of the odds, because the odds are just ridiculous and they give us way too much information, and that really pulls out a lot of the gameplay, and that is happening. In fact, that might happen in the next couple of weeks, that we see no more odds. So with that in mind, there's a downside and an upside to that of buying brand new Genesis horses and the odds disappearing. The downside is, I guess, is that if you don't run them before the odds disappear, that you won't really know if they're good or bad early. The upside is that most of the Z9s, 10s and that sort of range are bad. So by having no odds, and your horse comes in and wins its first couple of races, You might think you've got a great horse, but it's going to take some time to figure out. And the good thing is that no one else really knows if it's a great horse or not. So potentially the interesting thing is people won't be able to buy with confidence horses that have only had 2 or 3 races. At the moment, you can buy with confidence after seeing a horse race and its odds over 2 or 3 races, and that's ridiculous. So you'll need to race that horse 50 or 100 times to really figure it out. And so people won't be able to take that horse away from you with any confidence that it's good, because it might just be getting lucky early, and that's a good thing. All right. Let's wrap it up there. Hit the like button on the way out. Hit the subscribe button. As I said, there's lots of good content coming. I've got a comprehensive series on everything you need to know about Zed Run. And then I'm also going to do discovery series on things like bored apes, Riot Races, Appimon eggs, or Appimon eggs and monsters and where that's going. And anything else. We might do bonsais, we might do a couple of these other examples here. As we move through, I'll start writing down some of the different projects that you guys want me to look at, and I will do a deep dive into them and see if I can figure out where the best purchases, in my opinion, might be. So if that sounds cool, make sure you're subscribed, hit the notifications, and I don't know when I'll be back. I might do a show on Friday when the drop's going on, or just after the drop, as a drop wrap up to see what I got and what you got and how we all went and what we think about it. As no doubt there's going to be some controversy, as there always is. Fingers crossed. I'm hoping this is the last drop and they drop the lot. I don't think it will be though. I think they'll drop about half of them, and then the last final drop will probably be a month or 2 later. All right, we'll chat again soon. Bye for now.